We discuss now what we call as the steady flow through a cylindrical pipe, commonly known as Hagen-Pozole flow. So Pozole flow is a well-known experiment, well-known solution or problem that Pozole determined, that he solved, and then this is a variation of the same thing which Hagen also independently worked out. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The main thing is how the fluid is defined and how we obtain its solutions from the Navier-Stokes equation. And if we consider the steady flow of a viscous fluid, so remember it's a steady flow, fluid is viscous, and the geometry is cylindrical. So cylindrical pipe and arbitrary cross section. So this cross section is arbitrary. And let the axis of the pipe be along the z-axis as it has been shown in our diagram. And then any cross section that is normal to the axis, let that be in the xy plane. Now we again attack the Navier-Stokes equation, and from that we determine that since the fluid flows in the z direction, the velocities u and v are 0 because they are the components in x and y direction respectively, and they lie in a plane that is normal to z. So therefore, from this we deduce that dw by dz is 0, dp by dx is equal to dp by dy is 0. These are partial derivatives, and therefore from continuity equation and some components of the momentum equation, we obtain their values to be 0. From the momentum equation part, we can see in the z direction we have the contribution coming in as second derivative of w with respect to x and y is equal to 1 over mu into dp by dz. Now since w is not a function of z, where does this result come from? It's coming from here, the continuity equation, that w is not depending on z and dw by dz is 0, and therefore we conclude that w is not a function of z. And if it is not a function of z, therefore, and from here we have the result that p is not a function of x and y both, because the partial derivatives of p with respect to both x and y separately give us 0. It follows that p doesn't depend on x, p doesn't depend on y, and w does not depend on z. So if w depends, it may depend on x and y. Hence, we have the results, we can write down the results in the following manner, that we can choose dp by dz to be equal to some pressure difference, of course, that exists and in the fluid flow motion. So let that pressure difference be given by delta P. So delta P is reflecting the pressure difference that occurs in the pipe that we are considering. And let that be constant. It's divided by certain length L. L is just a constant, so really it's not a variable, it doesn't matter. And we have L is a length of the pipe, so just a constant, and it does not affect the variables. The mathematical problem of the steady unidirectional flow in a uniform pipe of section of contour C is then to solve the system. So you will recall that we have obtained this equation from the top. here, and there is a minus sign also here. And then this equation, the boundary conditions that W at C is equal to 0. So now we need to solve this equation, but it needs to be solved numerically by we keep giving them some values to the constant C, and we keep obtaining different results because analytical solution of this is not available. However, if we choose the geometry, the contour section C, to be either of elliptic form or circular form, then it is solvable in a closed form. And if, let us see, if we assume that C is an ellipse, is of the elliptical type, then we know that the equation of an ellipse is x square over b square plus y square over b square is equal to 1. That is the standard equation of an ellipse. So taking that into consideration and the solution of equations of 16, we will obtain that W is equal to A into 1 minus x square over a square minus y square over b square, where a is some constant that has to be determined. And when we obtain this value, when we obtain the value of the unknown A by substituting the values of the boundary condition, we obtain W to be equal to this given by equation number 17. And the maximum velocity on the pipe is obtained from the equation 17. So the equation 17 gives us the maximum velocity possibly can be this amount. That is when x and y are 0, so the velocity, angular velocity at that place will be 0. The rate of flow, the rate of volume flow, the amount of fluid that is flowing, it will be flowing at a rate given by Q. Q will be the integral of the angular velocity W into ds, and if we take its maximum value, then the integral, then the W is equal to this one, and since the variables are x and y, and of course the area of cross section will be dx dy. So we integrate it, and here we are just making a substitution to non-dimensionalize these variables. So really it's just to normalizing these variables and making a substitution, so a little adjustment for the convenience of the solution. So the amount of fluid that is flowing at a certain time is equal to a maximum value of pi AB over 2 into W max. The maximum velocity we obtain is here as given by W max, where Wm is reflecting only the mean velocity, that the average velocity within the flow field. So as it is written here. And we can see that the average velocity turns out to be half of the maximum velocity W. And WR, in the velocity in the radial direction, will be given by equation 19, where R is equal to this. And again similarly, Q, the flow, the volume of flow at a given time will be equal to this one, the mean velocity will be this one, where the coefficient of resistance lambda of a pipe of length L and D equal to 2A is related to drop off pressure necessary to obtain the given rate of volume. And the pressure, of course, is reflected here. The value of lambda that has just been mentioned is equal to 64 by the Reynolds number, and you will remind where the Reynolds number is equal to. You will recall that we define the Reynolds number to be equal to some velocity of the fluid into some representative distance. Let's say if the radius is a, we write here a. If it is a length, we write length, and so on, and it is denoted by the kinematic viscosity nu. So this ratio is normally defined as Reynolds number. And in this case, specifically, the velocity that has to be there can be chosen as the average velocity of the fluid, because that is a representative velocity of this Hagen-Pozole flow field. D, the diameter, and nu, of course, is the kinematic viscosity of the fluid that is passing through the cylinder. Experiments have demonstrated that for Re less than 2300, the flow is always laminar. So what is it telling us? You are aware that if the Reynolds number is less than, well, some authors, some researchers consider it to be 2000, some take it even up to 2200, and some to 2300. But since this is a bit arbitrary and it's a representative number, but the situation of the laminar or turbulent flow is measured, is discussed in terms of this value of Reynolds number. If it is less than maximum of 2300, is considered to be a laminar flow. And if it is larger than that number, it's considered to be a turbulent flow, that a turbulence may occur in that situation. So, but here it is shown that the Reynolds number, it remains within this value. The velocity is not allowed to increase so much so as to take the Reynolds number beyond 2300.